Biases are deeply ingrained in human psychology and often operate unconsciously, affecting our judgments, decisions, and interactions without us even realizing it. These hidden biases can shape everything from how we perceive others to the choices we make in everyday life. By understanding these biases, we can work to reduce their impact and make more informed, objective decisions. Here are 10 hidden biases that influence our daily lives. 1. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias occurs when we seek or interpret information in a way that confirms our pre-existing beliefs, ignoring evidence that contradicts them. This bias can lead us to reinforce misconceptions or make decisions based on incomplete or skewed information. For instance, if you believe a particular political ideology, you might only follow news outlets that support that view, dismissing any opposing perspectives. 2. Anchoring bias. Anchoring bias refers to the tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive when making decisions. This initial anchor sets the tone for all future judgments. For example, when shopping for a product, the first price you see might influence how much you're willing to pay, even if subsequent prices are more reasonable or fair. 3. Availability heuristic. The availability heuristic is the tendency to overestimate the likelihood of events based on how easily examples come to mind. For instance, if we frequently see news reports of plane crashes, we may perceive flying as more dangerous than it really is, even though statistics show that it's one of the safest modes of travel. 4. Halo effect. The halo effect occurs when our overall impression of a person influences our judgment of their specific traits. If we view someone as likable or attractive, we may also assume they're intelligent, competent, or trustworthy, even though those traits are not necessarily related. This bias often impacts hiring decisions and first impressions in social situations. 5. Stereotyping. Stereotyping involves making generalized assumptions about individuals based on their race, gender, age, or other characteristics. Even subtle or unconscious stereotypes can affect how we interact with others. For example, assuming someone is less capable because of their gender or ethnicity can lead to discrimination, even if we don't intend to treat them unfairly. 6. Attribution bias. Attribution bias refers to the way we attribute others' behaviors to their character rather than to external factors. For instance, if a colleague fails to meet a deadline, we may assume they're lazy or disorganized, overlooking the possibility that they were facing external pressures. Conversely, when we make mistakes, we are more likely to blame external factors, like a busy schedule, rather than our own shortcomings. 7. In-group bias. In-group bias is the tendency to favor people who belong to the same group as ourselves, whether based on race, religion, or shared interests. This bias can lead to preferential treatment of people who are similar to us while disadvantaging those from different backgrounds. It often plays a role in workplace dynamics, social groups, and even political affiliations. 8. Recency Effect. The recency effect is a cognitive bias where we give undue weight to the most recent information we've encountered. This bias makes us more likely to remember and be influenced by the last thing we saw or heard, even if earlier information is equally or more important. For instance, in performance reviews, recent achievements or mistakes may overshadow long-term contributions. 9. Optimism bias. Optimism bias is the tendency to overestimate the likelihood of positive outcomes and underestimate the possibility of negative ones. People with this bias may believe they are less likely to experience accidents, illnesses, or failures, which can lead to risky behaviors or a failure to prepare adequately for challenges. 10. Bandwagon Effect. The bandwagon effect occurs when people adopt certain behaviors, beliefs, or opinions because others are doing the same, rather than based on their own informed judgment. This bias can be observed in various social settings, such as when individuals begin supporting a political candidate simply because they perceive others to be doing so, or when trends spread rapidly on social media without thoughtful consideration. Hidden biases are a natural part of human cognition, but by being aware of them, we can mitigate their effects and make more objective, fair decisions. Whether it's recognizing the influence of stereotypes, questioning the information that confirms our beliefs, or understanding why we may favor those in our in-group, uncovering these biases is a crucial step in becoming more self-aware and improving our interactions with others. The first step towards overcoming these biases is awareness, By acknowledging their existence, we can take proactive steps to minimize their influence and promote more inclusive, rational decision-making.